Hello and welcome, everyone. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to develop your PhD research proposal and what are the different prompts that we can use on ChatGPT to help you structure your research proposal. So, this request actually came from Mohammadu Diko, and this was also a topic that I was also going to cover. So it was quite timely that this request for this video came, and I had something planned along the similar lines. So today, what I will cover or what I will show is how to structure your proposal, research proposal. What are the different sections in a PhD research proposal? And this is a proposal that could be used in both ways, right? So one is you are submitting your application for PhD. At that time, you need a proposal. So that is a shorter version, 2 to 3 pages long. Otherwise, the other one is once you have enrolled into a PhD and you have to confirm your PhD candidature. That time also you need a extended proposal. In my university, we expect it to be 10 pages long. So the content that I'm going to cover today is going to be equally useful for both the types of the proposal. Yeah, so whether you are applying for PhD and you need a shorter proposal, or you're already in your PhD program and you need a full research proposal for your uh, confirmation as a PhD candidate. Okay, so for those who are joining me for the first time on these videos that I'm doing daily, I have a link in the description of this video, which is a link to a Google form, so which you can fill up. And once you fill that up, you will get an access to a Google Doc. And the Google Doc is where you will find all the prompts that I'm using in all the videos that I'm conducting. All right, so make sure that you fill up that form, and within that form there is also an option for you to recommend any videos that you would want me to cover. Okay, so please take that time to fill up that form and let's get started. So I will first go to ChatGPT to start with the first prompt, and I will share the prompts as well as we are starting this session. So here you can see the different prompts that I'm going to use in today's session. So I've given the title, How to Structure Your PhD Research Proposal with ChatGPT. This is an older link. Let me delete this. I'll put the right link in here later on. So the first thing or the first prompt that you can begin with is how to structure a PhD research proposal. Okay, so let's get this. Go to ChatGPT, add your prompt here. How to structure a PhD research proposal. And let's see the answer that we are getting. And this is giving me two different types of results. Sometimes ChatGPT does that, asking me which one I prefer. So let's look at both the options and then we can choose one of them. So the response to it says title page, abstract, introduction, literature review, research objectives and questions, methodology, theoretical framework, timeline, expected outcomes, bibliography. Okay, and on the left side, let's see what we have here. Title. So we can actually compare both. So we have title here, your name, supervisor's name, department, abstract, 200 to 300 words, background. So in case here, it is only 2 sections, but here is a little bit more. Literature review. It is very difficult sometimes when ChatGPT gives this as an option to decide which one is better. You actually need some time to figure out what is your preferred way to go about it. I'll just choose this one for now. So so this is the layout. Let's look at the different sections of the research proposal that you should have. So you should have a title page for sure that should name the title of your research, your full name, your supervisor's name, the university name, and when you're going to present your research proposal or the date that you're submitting it. Right. Next, we need to have an abstract. An abstract should be 200 to 300 words, covering the research questions, methodology, and potential impact of the expected results. So this number can vary depending upon the university. So wherever you are applying for admission, or if you are preparing for your proposal presentation, you can check the guidelines. It could be 150 to 200 words, 200 to 300 words, but it is not too long, not more than a page. Once the abstract is done, the next section is introduction. Yeah, so here you have background, research questions, research significance, and we will go through this, the entire content of the headings. We will go step by step in this video today. Okay, so watch the video till the end, because every heading has different prompts that you can use, and you can use that to get an idea of what you can write under each section. Okay, there is some explanation here, but I will show you, I will follow that my ChatGPT strategy of questioning, which I covered in the earlier videos. So do check out those videos as well. So literature review, once you have done the introduction, we have a literature review section where you review the existing literature relevant to your research question, discuss how proposed research will build upon, challenge, or deviate from the existing one. That is typical lit review that you do. Then you could have a section on research objectives or questions. Sometimes this section can also be here. So here you can see already there is a research question here. If you want to elaborate more, then you can have another separate section. But the next section is methodology. So I would do abstract, introduction, lit review, and methodology. So research design, how are you going to collect the data? What form of data you're going to capture? How are you going to analyze? What are the ethical considerations for your research? What approvals do you need to get? You have to mention all that, and you also have to create a timeline. So I'm also going to show you how you can create a timeline in the form of a graph, like a Gantt chart, and what is the prompt for that. What are the expected outcomes of your research that you hope to achieve? If do you need a budget? If maybe there is some universities offer a standard budget every year for each PhD scholar, right? So if you know what the budget is, you can allocate the certain percentage of your expenses for the research related activities. Then you have references or bibliography and appendices. Okay, so that is the suggested layout from ChatGPT on the structure of the proposal. All right, let's come back to this Google Doc, and let's see now, for the purpose of this video, I have to choose a research topic so that I could work on. So I have chosen this topic, generative artificial intelligence and its impact on education. Yeah, so here we have, what I want to show you is we can do some brainstorming on this research topic. If this is a broad research topic, we can do some brainstorming with this and see what suggestions ChatGPT provides us. Okay, so that brings us to the next prompt, which is this one. So I have given a tag as a research topic here. So I've categorized prompt 2 for research topic. So what I'm saying here is, explain to me the process of refining this broad topic into specific research questions. So let's go to ChatGPT. Okay, sorry, I haven't told ChatGPT my research question yet. So I need to go back. Sorry, what I would do is I will take this part and I'll move it here. So when we are discussing about the topic, I'm going to make this as another prompt. Help me develop a clear research question based on this topic idea on generative AI and its impact. So I will copy this and go to ChatGPT, paste. So now what we are getting is different steps to make a clear and a focused research question. And this is a process that you have to go through yourself as well, because you cannot just select a research question without analyzing it. Okay. So what do we get here? So the step one is define the scope. Start defining the boundaries of your research. For example, what aspect of generative AI are you going to focus in your research, right? Are you focusing on specific technologies like chatbot, content generation tool, virtual assistants, or others? If you are narrowing down it to education sector, are you looking at primary, secondary, higher education, or professional training? So which? Maybe schools, universities, or something else? And when you're assessing the impact, are you interested in educational outcomes, pedagogical methods, teacher student interactions, accessibility, or any other specific area? So, the impact that we want to assess, we have to see what is the impact that we are looking at. Okay. Next, we identify the key concepts, break down the topic into key concepts, and think about how these can be explored, right? For example, if it is generative AI, technologies that automatically generate content, responses, or data based on input. So ChatGPT is a generative AI technology, right? And impact is changes or effects that can be measured or observed in educational process or outcomes. So this is the two broad concepts. Yeah. Next is explore potential questions. So based on the scope and key concepts, brainstorm possible questions. So scope was here and key concepts are here, right? So based on these two, explore some research questions, and we have got some suggestions here. Let's see what it is. How does the use of generative AI in creating customized learning material affects student engagement in higher education, right? So we are assessing the impact of engagement in higher education. Or what is the impact of AI driven personal tutors, right? Sometimes now it has become very easy that if you do not understand a concept, you just ask ChatGPT to explain you that, and then it will do it. So that is kind of a personal tutor, right? So what is the impact of AI driven personal tutors on academic performance of secondary school students? You could do tertiary or university students or undergrad bachelor students, master students. You can choose you can decide how you're going to narrow your research question. How do generative AI tools for generating educational content influence teaching strategies in primary schools? So this is very important or interesting. See, if you if you imagine there was no ChatGPT and I had to teach you all this, I would have spent a lot of time to create content, right? What I did now in this session was to create content right in front of you. Yeah. So I created the content by giving a prompt and I'm explaining the content based on my experience. So my time is more productively utilized, because if something is wrong here, I can know because of my experience. I can say, no, this is not what is ideal, but you can do this. But the time that it takes to get ready and to start creating content is becoming much faster because of using ChatGPT and other similar technologies. Now the next step is refine your question. Choose one of the brainstormed question and refine it to be as clear as possible. So if this is the original question, how do generative AI tools for generating educational content influence teaching strategies in primary school? Right? How can you refine it? How do generative AI powered content creation tool impact the adoption of innovative teaching strategies among primary school teachers? Yeah, so they have improved the research question a bit more because they're now talking about impact of the adoption. Yeah, and you could also say primary school teachers, or it could be primary and secondary school teachers. So depending upon what is the scope that you want to limit your research. Yeah, and then you have to evaluate the question based on a few criteria like clarity. Is the question easily understandable? Is it question narrow enough to be answered through a specific study? Because we do not want too broad question, because then it will be too difficult for you to do data collection and do any meaningful research, right? Next is feasibility. Is it realistic to gather the data? See, this is what I just now said. Relevance. Is the question relevant to the field of education and current AI developments? Novelty. And this is the most important, I would say. Does the question address a gap in the existing research? Yeah, so this could be like a filter with which you can assess whether your research questions are good or not. Okay, so this is the final research question. For example, in this case, how do generative AI powered content creation tool impact the adoption of innovative teaching strategies among primary school teachers? Okay, so this question focuses on specific technology with a defined educational sector, which is primary education, and look for a specific aspect of impact. Yeah, and the aspect is adoption of teaching strategies. So you can see how the different aspects of the question are clearly mentioned or covered when developing a research question. Okay. All right. So now let's go to this prompt which I had tried before, and I want to see how it works. Explain to me the process of refining this broad topic into a specific research question. And I think a bit of it was covered in here, but I will still run it, because with ChatGPT, what happens is when I am testing the prompts that I want to use, it gives me different responses, right? So I make these questions or prompts based upon the responses that I'm getting, and the connection is there. But now when I run this, it gives me different responses. For example, when I conducted the prompt before the session, it did not tell me how to make the question focused, but it has already covered here. But I will still run the prompt and see what do we get. So we are asking for a process to refine the broad topic into specific questions. So I think the result that we are getting is pretty much similar to what we saw earlier on. So this has not added too much value. So we covered the criteria, clarity, researchability, originality. So innovation is now called as originality here. Researchability is, what was it called here earlier? Feasibility. I think feasibility, they have called it as researchability. But maybe there is no harm, you can always run multiple prompts and see if it is giving any additional information, because the more the information, the better decision you would take when you are doing your research or drafting your proposal. Okay, then let's go back to this tab and prompt 3. Now I'm asking, tell me how to write a compelling abstract. Okay, so let's go to ChatGPT and put this. How to write a compelling abstract. And I could also say, for the PhD research proposal, make it more specific. So what do we have here? So we start with the purpose. So begin by setting the stage for your research. Briefly explain the academic or practical context and highlight the gap in existing knowledge that your study will address. Yeah, so start with this. And there is an example here. As educational institutions increasingly adopt digital technologies, generative AI tools are becoming pivotal in shaping teaching strategies. However, the impact of these technologies on teaching practices remains unexplored. So see, our research topic was on impact. So this is how it is connecting here, particularly in primary education. Okay, so that is the start. The purpose and the context and the rationale is very clear. Now you define your objectives. Clearly state the central research question or hypothesis of your study. List the main objectives your research aims to achieve. And this is how you can do it. The study aims to investigate how generative AI powered content creation tools affect the adoption of innovative teaching strategies among primary school teachers. Then we move on to describing the methodology. Briefly outline the design of your study, whether it is qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods. Mention the main methods you will use to collect data: survey, interviews, observational studies. Summarize the techniques you will use to analyze the data depending upon how you are gathering the data from here. And then you have to explain that in a sentence or two. Using a mixed methods approach, the study will combine quantitative data from a survey of 200 primary school teachers with qualitative insights from in-depth interviews. So they are doing a mixed methods approach here with these two options. What are the expected outcomes? Discuss what you expect to discover and why these findings will be significant. Yeah, so significance you have to mention of this research, and explain how your research can contribute to existing knowledge or practical applications. Yeah, so this is how you can write it. The findings are expected to offer new insights into pedagogical integration of AI, potentially guiding policy decisions and educational tool development. Conclude the contribution. So you can add a concluding sentence, and make sure that you proofread. Yeah. Ensure that the abstract is within the word limit, and make sure that it is also proofread properly, because a lot of time anyone who is reviewing your proposal, they are going to read the abstract very carefully. Yeah, so you can follow that. Next, what I had was this prompt: give me 2-sentence ideas each in form of questions that I can answer to complete the following sections of the abstract. So when I ran the query previously, this is what I had received as one of the response, saying that you should have introduction, objectives, methods, result, and conclusion, and 1 sentence, 2 sentence on each. So I had created this prompt, which we will run again now and see the results that we get here. So here what I'm telling here is, this is what I was talking about, the questioning strategy that I use with ChatGPT. So I'm not asking ChatGPT to write the content for me, but I'm asking it to give me some questions that I can answer. And while I'm answering those questions, I will start writing what I have to write. So here there are sentences that I need to complete. So I'm asking ChatGPT to give me some suggested questions. Yeah. For example, what is the current state of research in the field of generative AI in education, and what gap your study is aiming to fill? So when you answer this question, you are actually creating your own content, right? So keep this in mind. The purpose here is to use ChatGPT to guide us in the work that we want to do, but not get ChatGPT to do the work for us. Yeah, so always use this questioning strategy, the prompt that I have shared, to make sure that you get ChatGPT to guide you to what needs to be done, not get it to do what you want to do. Yeah, so be very careful with that, because that will be considered as plagiarism, and we do not want to do that. All right, so there are a couple of questions here. How have generative AI technologies integrated into educational practices? In the objective or the aim part, you can answer these questions. What specific aspect of generative AI impact on education does your research seeks to investigate? So you can say, we seek to investigate the impact of whatever the impact that you want to study. What research design will you employ to investigate this? So you can say, we will follow a qualitative or a quantitative or mixed method approach. So like that, when you are given this questions, you will be able to answer, and you will start writing what needs to be written. And I have found that this works very well. Yeah, so similarly, other questions, you can check it later on. Now, the next question is how to write a compelling introduction for my PhD research proposal. Right, so I will not run this prompt. I will let you try it on. The prompt is already here in the Google Doc. You just copy it and run it. What I will now do is, I'll go to the prompt 6. Give me 2-sentence ideas each in the form of questions that I can answer to complete the following sections of the introduction. So when I run this prompt, I was given that a research proposal, the introduction should have these subsections. Yeah. So I have created this prompt based upon that. So prompt 5 was how to write a compelling introduction for my PhD research proposal. So this is more of a learning kind of a prompt. So I will let you try this on your own. This is there in the Google Doc. But I would run this prompt because this is what I was, when I ran this prompt earlier, I got that introduction should have these 6 sections. Yeah. So we will run this and get some ideas on what we can write in the introduction. So you can see by following these prompts step by step, you are able to start writing. And this is one of the challenges that I have found for PhD scholars, that they sometimes get a struggle with writing. So this strategy of questioning ChatGPT to give you prompts on suggestions on what you can write is very powerful. Okay, so let's run this one. So what have we got? Start with a hook. How is the rapid advancement of AI technology transforming educational methodologies globally? Yeah, try to find an answer for this and write it. What are the implications of ignoring the potential of generative AI? So start and write something. What key milestones in the development of generative AI have influenced educational theories and practice? Similarly, 2 questions here. Narrow down the focus. Why is it critical to focus specifically on primary education when examining the impact of generative AI? Right? So you can answer this. You can say it is important to understand the impact on primary education because that is where children begin to learn new things. And if they rely too much on ChatGPT or other generative AI tools, it may limit their progress or cognitive development or something like that. So as you pick up these questions and start answering, you will find it very useful to start writing. Similarly, state the research problem. What gaps exist in the current understanding of generative AI's role in education, and how your research aims to fill this, and so on. Okay, so let's go back to our prompt sheet. Now, literature review. I will run this prompt. How to write a compelling literature review for my PhD research proposal, and see what it gives us. So what we have got is a step-by-step guide to writing a literature review. And this in itself is a very big topic. I mean, if you have seen my other webinars on how to write a systematic literature review, those videos itself are like 15-20 hours long, because I cover every aspect of literature review, right? How to write the abstract, how to write introduction, how to write methodology, and everything step by step. So if you are struggling with lit review, I would suggest you check out those videos. Okay, define the scope, narrow your topic, identify your themes, search for relevant literature from different databases, decide your inclusion-exclusion criteria, evaluate and select sources for relevancy, authority, and perspective, organize the literature by theme, chronologically within themes, or based upon methodological approach used. Summarize and synthesize. I think synthesize is more important than summarize, because we want to do a critical synthesis, not just synthesis, a critical synthesis of the literature. And okay, it has it here. Critically analyze your literature. So this is how the literature review section process should be followed. Yeah. Now when you write the literature review, these are the headings that ChatGPT is suggesting. And previously, when I ran this prompt, I was given a different outline, which I have copied here. So you can see introduction, body, gap identification, connection to proposed research, and conclusion. So this was the sections and subsections within literature review section of your PhD research proposal. Okay, so if you want, you can follow this. Then what I did again was, if I am following this outline for writing the literature review of my PhD research proposal, should I do research here? Give me 2 sentence ideas each, and you can always change this. It could be 3 sentence, 4 sentence, 10 sentence ideas, depending upon how big the proposal is going to be, in the form of questions that I can answer to complete this section, and try to customize or tailor this prompt to meet your needs. Maybe if you want to change it a little bit, give it a try. There is no harm trying out different prompts, because the purpose here is to try different prompts to get the information that we need, and the more you practice, the more you get better at it. Okay, so if I will run this prompt. And while it is running, because it may take some time because a lot of things have to be written here, we will check the next prompt. So the next section is on research design and methodology. And you can see these were the headings, right? Research design and methodology. So research approach, data collection, sampling, data analysis, ethical considerations, and limitations. Yeah, so these are the headings that were given to me when I ran the prompt myself. So I've got this as example so that we can run this, but let's see what the results we've got here. So for the literature review, introduction, couple of questions that you can follow. In the body, theme 1, historical developments and key findings. Theme 2, methodological approaches and their outcomes. Theme 3, current debates, conflicts, and emerging trends. So the literature review section is at least can be divided into 3, basically. One is the historical aspect, one is methodological aspect, and one is emerging trends, which is basically future, what you think will happen. And there are some research questions, some suggested questions here that you can answer to start working on these sections. Okay, similarly you can check the other results, others later on. Right, so now for the research and methodology, we will again run a similar prompt to get us some guidance on writing this section. So let's go to ChatGPT and paste. So here, research approach, couple of questions here. Will your study employ qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methodologies? So you can think about it. How does the applied research align and support the investigation of your research about impact of generative AI? Data collection, which methods you are going to use? How will data collection technique help you to capture the necessary data? Some questions around sampling, some on data analysis, some on ethical considerations. What potential ethical issues could arise from your research involving AI in educational settings? And you have to think about it carefully. Yeah. What are the potential limitations of your research design? I think this is necessary to think about and mention it. By answering these questions within your proposal, you can provide a clear and detailed explanation of how your research will be conducted, demonstrating thorough planning and a robust understanding of methodological principles. So if there are any things here, right, if you don't understand some of the concepts that are given here, you can always ask, explain me what is thematic analysis, give me an example in the context of my research proposal. Or what is content analysis? What is the difference between thematic and content analysis? Can you give me 2 separate examples? Something like that. So you can create questions, prompts that can help you to improve your knowledge. Yeah. So ChatGPT, one of the most powerful use case is learning rather than writing. Yeah. And if you can learn how to learn with ChatGPT, I think it is very, very powerful skill that you can acquire. Okay, so let's go back to our prompt sheet. Prompt 10. Now this is about timeline. So within your proposal, you have to give a timeline for completion, right? So let's copy this and go to ChatGPT and paste it here. Can you give me a rough timeline for PhD completion to add to the research proposal? So depending upon whether it is 3 or 4 years of PhD, this will be a timeline that you can kind of follow. So year 1, year 2, year 3. And Q1, Q2 here talks about the quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, like that. So here it is starting from September to December. That's why January and March. So it's not starting from January to December, but doesn't matter. Right, so this is a proposed layout or plan, a timeline for your PhD, which you can improve. Yeah. Next, I have got this prompt. Can you put this in a tabular format? So that is easier to read or understand. So let's run this prompt. So year 1, year 2. So here, if you can see, quarter ones are added together, and there are 3 columns here, where there are 2 columns in this one. So I'll just say I like this one. We get the responses. So whatever was there in a textual format is now done in a tabular format. And make sure that here, I don't know why this shows like this, but if you are using this table in your proposal, then make sure that you remove this break line, that this is the HTML code for a separate new line. Okay, so this one is the table. I think it is still generating. While it is generating, we'll go back to our prompt document. I have another prompt here is, can you draw a Gantt chart using this table? Because in my university, students are required to give a Gantt chart. So I'll put this one here. Can you draw a Gantt chart using this table? So now what is happening is ChatGPT is analyzing this table, and it will generate a chart that could be used in the proposal. It's very handy. You don't need to go to, you won't need to go to Excel or some other charting tool to chart it. As long as your table is proper and accurate, it will generate you a nice Gantt chart. It is still analyzing. It gave some error, but when I did it earlier, I got a nice Gantt chart. Okay, while this tries it again, the last thing that I wanted to run was this prompt, which is give me some tips for writing a successful PhD proposal. So this one is useful for you to. This prompt is useful because if you are currently writing your research proposal, I think these tips would be helpful in making sure that you get the right results or get the right motivation to write your proposal. Okay, I'll copy and keep this. What happened? Did it give? Yeah, so here you can see it has designed the nice Gantt chart based upon. But I think it is too many things. You can improve the prompt by saying that only have do an image for every 2 quarters rather than every quarter. Then this will become a little bit better. Okay, let's conclude this session with this last prompt, which is tips for writing successful PhD proposal. So understand the purpose and the audience who is going to read this, and clarify what is the purpose. Start with a strong introduction. Begin with an interesting hook. So if you saw earlier, there are some suggestions on how to make a nice hook. Provide context. Formulate a clear research question. Conduct a thorough lit review. Detail your methodology. Highlight the significance. Address ethical consideration. Acknowledge potential limitations. Basically, whatever we have covered in the layout of the proposal, they have said that you have to ensure that this is done correctly. And there are some strategies that also some are mentioned. So considering, thinking about all these strategies, all these suggestions will be helpful in understanding how to do a good quality research proposal. Okay, so that is all I wanted to cover in today's session. So I hope this prompts, these are helpful. So in the end, what I'm going to do is if I go back to this document here, I will post 2 ChatGPT links here. The link for today's session. So that this would be the link which will be this one, right? The one that we ran in the session today. And I will also put a link of the link of that chat which I had got when I was preparing for this webinar. Okay, so that's all in today's session. I hope you found this session very useful, and do share my videos with your colleagues or with your fellow PhD scholars who are working with you, and give me suggestions, on what else I can do. So today's suggestion was from Mohamedou Diko. So I thank you very much for giving this suggestion. Similarly, if you have any other suggestions that you would like, please do so. And do follow me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right. Thank you very much. And I'll see you again tomorrow with a different interesting video. Take care and have a great evening. Bye.